Hi, I'm Kaylin Patrick. I'm a junior psychology major with a minor in criminal justice.
Hey, my name is Kinzie. I'm a freshman here at Ole Miss, and I'm majoring in allied health nursing, quote unquote.
Okay, and the prompt question we're going to be responding to is, how does education produce freedom for African Americans in society today? And first, I want to talk about. Where education began to create freedom for African Americans in the beginning. So education created freedom for African Americans even during slavery. And to keep one from obtaining knowledge is a form of slavery really within itself, because ignorance is a shackle. And that's how they kept them in bondage longer. The owners knew that, and according to the documentary, Kimberly Crenshaw, the director of the African American Policy Forum, stated that educated black population could not be an enslaved black population, and so they knew that, and that's why they didn't want them to learn how to read and write. And that even applies to today, because without an education and with ignorance comes poor choices. With ignorance comes also just blindness to what's available to you. And so a quality education simultaneously creates equity and equality for African Americans. And one major catalyst in this movement was the foundation of historically black colleges. And what historically black colleges did were create an environment where blacks could be unapologetically black, and they could basically have an environment to learn and grow with each other without having to feel as less of like they were less, basically. And it allowed them to take control of the narrative as of their role as a citizen, while maintaining the essence of who they were. And from attending at HBCU, I can testify for that experience. It is a great experience, and it does help boost your confidence as a black student, as a black person in America in general. Perspectives from figures such as Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, Ida B. Wells, etc., expound on the critical role of education in contributing to the freedom of African Americans.
Reading W.E. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, and the other origins of the civil rights movement, it states that Du Bois believed that education and civil rights were the only way to gain freedom, and deny blacks of education diminishes its importance, and would support the notion that we are second-class citizens. In today's society, most careers require you to have at least a high school diploma or a GED. And the most sustainable careers require higher education, such as your bachelor's, your master's, or a doctorate degree. Without education, even at the high school level, one is sentencing him or herself to be a part of the endless cycle of poverty. If someone chooses not to attend an institution and self-teach themselves, such as entrepreneurs, that is still an education. Regardless of an African American today is working for someone or in a business for themselves, an education is a key to freedom from the shackles of ignorance. Although having vocational skills can be a means of success, Booker T. Washington proposed education creates success and freedom through knowledge. Poor choices, of course. Since our ancestors fought relentlessly to have the right to learn and educate themselves with the highest quality of education, African Americans today owe it to themselves to take the initiative and not to choose ignorance but knowledge. Education is the most powerful weapon against inequality for African Americans today, because it can be taken away from you. It places the control and power back into our hands by promoting self-accountability and discipline. According to the documentary Tell Them We Are Rising by Nelson and Williams.
And I completely agree. Education, all in all, creates freedom for African Americans in today's society through access to material that everyone has access to. Hence, equity, which is fair and unbiased. A quality education is fair and unbiased. Although racial barriers and racism can interfere with professional opportunities, an education makes you qualified to do what you aspire to do.
Education is imperative and fair and equity. It creates freedom. I agree with Kaylin had to say, because it's our responsibility to obtain the information that is available for us in education. ourselves. Thank you, and that is our
Partner blog.